I've been doing my best to not try to go off or say nothing really crazy. I promise y'all I've been trying my best, okay? But these stories behind what these people are accused of doing to these babies, it makes us all mad. I got things I want to say. I want to be able to express myself and use my First Amendment rights like we all should be able to do. This is a very big update in this story. Um, if I don't know if y'all remember when I first talked about this, but there is an original video in there. So if you want to go back and watch it, that's you can. I'll probably post the link in there so you can see it. But other than that, let's go ahead and get this thing started and let you guys know that if I use some strong language, this is not intended for children. This is intended for mature audiences. Mommy, take it away. Let's get it, Maybelline.
Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, new website articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer.
So I'm getting this update from nypost.com. That's the New York Post. So thank you very much. A former Georgia beauty queen, and I promise y'all, this woman literally used to be a beauty queen. Let me see if I can get her picture up here. See, look at that. You could tell she used to be a beauty queen because she's got a ton of makeup on and she's got a crown on the top of her head and she's got her hair done, right? So that makes you a beauty queen. It doesn't matter how many scents you got in your head, how many peanuts are in the can. I guess it don't matter how many crayons are in the box. I guess it don't matter how bright the light bulb is in the light socket. As long as you put a crown on the top of your head, I guess that's all that matters, you know? And I guess, maybe they got some big and wide competitions out there. So I don't know if she's like a hot dog eating champion or like if they got like a pageant for girls and how many burgers you could eat in 30 seconds. But nonetheless, that is this individual. I want y'all to hear what she did to her boyfriend's baby. Can we get a hashtag dad's girlfriend? You're watching from the UK. If you're listening, Pauline, thank you very much. Shout out to the UK in the building. Hashtag dad's girlfriend. Remember mom's boyfriend? Dad's girlfriend, right? She is wider than all outside. A former Georgia beauty queen allegedly killed her boyfriend's toddler son in a jealous fit of rage because she wanted to start a family with her partner and have their own child. She didn't want this child by another woman who probably shares some similar features, whether it be looks or hair texture or whatever the case is. She's just like she don't want to be reminded of this man's previous woman. That is not an uncommon concept. It's the wrong thing to do because a lot of people are creating children outside of wedlock. So I understand wanting to have your own family, but here's the thing. And then I didn't even think about how young the baby is. Say, bruh, to the father, let's back this up. I understand that you want to be an involved father in your child's life. That's wonderful. That's great. That is a commendable, beautiful thing. That child is too young for you to be thinking about dating anybody. The child is not walking. The child is not talking. The child cannot speak for itself nor defend itself. And I think, in my humble opinion, when people have kids, if your kids are under the age, I guess, of 13, at least 13, the last thing you should be thinking about is dating. And even then, like I've noticed with some women, and I got to give them a shout out because it's not a bad thing when you put your kids first. I'm going to just be real with y'all. I'll tell y'all a personal story. I had a woman stop dating me at one point in time because she said, you know what? I want to put the focus on my son and I don't want him to feel like he's coming second to anything or to anyone. And as much as I was bothered by that, I was like, oh, that's bullshit. That's fucked up. Like, I don't like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, where's the benefit in that for me? Right? That's the selfish portion of me. But when I had time to digest that and I thought about it, I said, Now, ain't that the exact same thing that I've been preaching on my channel for mothers and women to do, is to put their kids first, right? Maybe don't date while you have kids at an impressionable age. And I thought about that and I said, thank you. There you go. It's respectable. Very respectable. You can't get mad at that at all. Like, I have two kids. I have two seniors this year. So I'm being basically an empty nester for the most part. Even though I didn't have them living with me most of the time. They did when they were little, not when they were bigger. But I've been an active father. But I don't have any underage kids besides my stepdaughter. But in this case, this baby is small and feeble. This baby needs all of your mother and dad's attention. There's no way you should be thinking about dating, and there's no way that you can trust anybody with your kid, especially if you're not married. Here's what makes it different when you actually get married. You could talk about, well, we were going to get married, we were in love, we were this and that. It's not your wife. It's not your wife. The difference is when that becomes your wife, now that legally that child becomes a legal child of hers, right? Here's another thing. You had to have had discussions, and she had to have expressed some disdain for you having a kid by another woman, especially a young baby. And if she wanted to start a family with you, if you knew that, you should have never brought that bitch around your kid. She should have never been babysitting your kid. She should have never been left alone with your kid. And there was absolutely zero reason for her to ever be a babysitter. Does anybody disagree with anything I've said so far? Let alone the fact that I continue to keep saying this thing, and I think that I'm probably about 5 to 10 years ahead on this, because I notice people still try to argue it. I don't think that men should be fathers under the age of 30 years old. Women should definitely not be mothers under the age of 25 years old. Give yourselves more time, right? I think you become a better parent when you wait a little bit longer, when you're more financially stable, when you can actually do something for yourself, let alone the fact of you at least need to be married. But I guess we ain't got to go there, right? Not everybody want to get married. Fuck it. Maybe we're not doing the marriage thing no more. But I think it's a good social concept. It's a good social construct to raise kids under one roof. Let's move on. This woman's name, let me see if I get her back up on the screen. Right there, I had her. Either way, right there. Her name is Trinity Pogue, Poague. She's 20 years old. I'm going to continue to throw those numbers out there because I want y'all to look at my channel over time. Some of y'all are watching me overseas. Some of y'all are watching me in the United States. You can go back on my channel. This is literally a big-ass documentary. Y'all can go back on here and look and say, how many times did Jay say that these mothers don't need to be parents under the age of 25? These men don't need to be fathers under the age of 30. And here it is. She's 20 years old. I think they started dating when she was 18 years old. That's really, really close to the time that he last was dealing with his child's mother. And by the time she gave birth, by the time that he got with this woman at 20 years old. And she appeared in Sumner County Superior Court in Georgia on Tuesday, where she stands trial for the January 2024 murder of that beautiful little baby. The murder of that baby, that's 18-month-old Romeo Angelus. It's either Angles, I think it's Angelus though. Pogue, Trinity Pogue, who was a sophomore at Georgia Southwestern State University at the time, is accused of murdering the young toddler inside her boyfriend Julian Williams' dorm while he was out picking up pizza. Even more reason to not have kids when you're in college. And if you need her to babysit, if you're going to go just pick up, that should have been simple enough for her to not do that, but that's still crazy. People are just crazy. You can't trust folks with your kids. All right? She texted Williams that his son was not breathing, prompting him to rush back and find the toddler unresponsive and drove him straight to the emergency room. Romeo never regained stability and was pronounced dead despite doctors' attempts to stabilize the baby boy for an emergency flight to a children's hospital in Atlanta. A week after the baby's death, Pogue was charged with murder, aggravated battery, and child cruelty. She later pleaded not guilty to all the charges. But I think she actually admitted to doing some of this stuff. But I don't hold me to that. Prosecutors argued that Pogue killed baby Romeo out of resentment because she wanted a child of her own with Williams. She wanted to have a child or children with Julian Williams. Prosecutor Louis Lamb told jurors on Tuesday, according to the courtroom footage from Court TV, but not that child. Lamb argued that Pogue was jealous that Williams paid more attention to his son than to her. This is a former beauty queen. This is a high school graduate. This woman is a college educated person. And do y'all hear how effing dumb she is? The level of stupidity never surprises me. And y'all do me a favor if you're watching, please hit that thumbs up. Thank you, Deborah. He paid more attention to his son than he did to his girlfriend. So let me ask you, when you have a toddler baby, should you not be paying attention to your child? Isn't that why the child is in your possession? How many times do you hear about kids getting into things and passing away or drinking liquids or hurting themselves because you're not paying attention to your kid? Like, it's like wouldn't he be a terrible person if he paid more attention to you than the kid? Think about if that's the standard that you're setting. Let's say this child doesn't exist. And this young woman, have a baby with this man, and that man pays more attention to you, to her, than the child y'all have. And that would not be a problem. That'd be okay just as long as you're getting the attention. That sounds a bit selfish to me. Again, I think that makes her a bad person. Maybe her parents and family and friends don't like me saying that, but she's a horrible, selfish individual. And it ain't got nothing to do with age. That is who she is. Okay? Let's see. Yep. She did not want to assume the stepmother role. He also told jurors that Pogue expressed her hatred towards the child in a text to her roommate hours before the tragedy. And she wrote, "I can't stand being around JD anymore. He hates me and I hate him," Lamb says she allegedly wrote. The deceased child's birth certificate identified him as Romeo Angelus or Angles, Angles or Angelus. It had Angelus in here earlier. I don't know which one it is. But Julian Williams gave the child's name as Jackson, Jaxton, Drew, at the hospital, Sumner County Coroner Mathis Wright said last year. The prosecution further claimed that while at the hospital, this woman, Pogue, searched for terms like, how do you get a brain bleed? And how can a depressed skull fracture go unnoticed? I think that's depressed. Let me see. Yeah, depressed skull fracture. This is what she's looking up on her phone. You said I'm not wrong? Appreciate that. Thank you. Wright testified that Pogue initially claimed the toddler had been eating chips moments before becoming unresponsive. Red flag right there. That's bullcrap. A detail contradicted by the medical exam, which found that he had not eaten anything before his death. The exam found that the child suffered from blunt force trauma. She beat this child to death because she is a big old huge bully. Blunt force trauma to the head and torso until his brain was useless. She beat the life I don't understand how you can look at any baby, let alone this particular baby in this story, and you see that face and you think that I want to end that child's life. I don't see how anybody could be that callous, that selfish, that damn stupid to just hate life that much. And let me see if I can. Said you love my channel. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Shout out to who was that? Tangela. Thank you. Let me get this baby's picture back up here. Look at the face of this baby, and you tell me, what else would you want to do except pick the baby up? The baby probably laughs and smiles all the time. All they do is eat, sleep, and shit. That is literally all they do, and cry. It takes a lot of patience, but it's a simple process. It's a beautiful little baby. Romeo never regained stability and was pronounced dead despite doctors' attempts to revive the baby. Let's keep going. Wright said that Pogue later changed her story and told investigators that he had fallen off the bed. Emergency room physician Dr. Michael Bunzman told the court that Pogue's account was inconsistent with Romeo's injuries, explaining that head swelling and fluid from the toddler's nose pointed to a direct blow. The baby was punched or hit or stomped or something. If convicted on all counts, Pogue faces life without parole or even the death penalty. What do y'all think that she should get? I want y'all to take a vote in the chat and y'all tell me, should they go in the direction of the death penalty for those who believe in that, or do y'all think that she should just get life in prison? I think either one is fine because this was intentional. Pogue earned the 2023 Miss Donaldsonville title and later participated in the National Peanut Festival beauty pageant. I knew it had something to do with food. I knew it. Where she did not place. You think? She did not place. She has since been stripped of her titles, the early County News reported. Shortly after her arrest, Pogue was released on a $75,000 bond, a decision that outraged Williams. This feels like a slap in the face to me and my family. All we want is justice for my son. Letting her out and being free is not right. She took an innocent 1-year-old's life. And I agree with that. Yeah, she was just sentenced today. Let's look it up. Because I literally looked this up this morning and I thought I had the latest. Maybe we don't. Thank you for pointing that out. Let's look it up. Let's look up the latest. Y'all give me a second. If y'all are watching, do me a favor and please hit that thumbs up if you just got here. And let me know where you guys are watching from. What city, what state are you guys watching from? Trinity Pogue. Okay. Oh, I see. 2 hours. Oh, wow. There was an update 3 hours ago and 2 hours ago. Let's take the one that was take a look at the one that was 2 hours ago. All right, we have some updated news here. As of today, within an hour ago, this is an update. Let me know where you guys are watching from. Check this out. Trinity Pogue was found guilty of felony murder in the death of 18-month-old Romeo J.D. Angelus. And it says Angelus here again. Pogue was a student at Georgia Southwestern University and a former member of the President Jimmy Carter Leadership Program. She was charged with the death of her boyfriend's son, who was visiting her at the time. Pogue was also charged with cruelty to children. She was sentenced to life in prison for felony murder and 20 years for cruelty to children, which is a concurrent sentence. So they're going to run those sentences at the exact same time. Pogue has 30 days to appeal if she chooses to do so. So shout out to you in the chat. Thank you so much for making sure I got that update. And that is literally going to be the end of this particular saga. But let me at least let y'all hear. Maybe I can find that guilty verdict. Y'all give me a second. But I'll let you watch the news video I already have.
Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107.
If y'all would do me a favor and hit that thumbs up if you're watching, smash that thumbs up. It helps us share this video quite a bit. So I'm going to mute my mic so y'all can hear this. Here we go. This is some of the court footage, but let me see if I can get... I don't like concurrent either. I really don't. But a life sentence is a life sentence. That's about as good as it's going to get. But here we go.
Case to be the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Have a seat. What is your name?
Julian Williams.
And how do you spell Julian?
Julian.
I-N or I?
Julian.
I-A-N. So sort of the normal spelling, or
Yes.
conventional spelling, right? Gotcha. Okay. Where do you live, Mr. Williams?
Colquitt, Georgia.
And how long have you lived in Colquitt, Georgia?
My whole life.
Who do you live with in Colquitt, Georgia?
I live with my sister,
And what's her name?
Ashanti Burr.
How did it come to be that you and your sister were sharing a house there in Colquitt, Georgia?
It's my mom's house. My mom got sick with cancer, and she couldn't be around my son, so we bought another house, and she stayed probably 10 minutes down the road.
Okay, so was your mom living there with you and your sister before she got sick?
Yes.
And after your son passed away, why would your mom not move back to your house?
She was already sick, and she wanted to stay in Damascus.
So she was living in Damascus?
Yes.
Has she since passed away?
Yes, October 14th, 2024.
So you lost your son in January of 24 and then your mother in October.
Yes, 9 months apart, exact date.
How old is Ashanti Burr?
She's 23,
And how old are you?
25,
What's your birthday?
July 10, 2000.
Where do you work?
Stewart Machine in Bainbridge, Georgia.
Steward Machine?
Yes,
That's S-T-E-W-A-R-D?
yes.
Okay. What is Steward Machine? What kind of a business is that?
It's welding business and paint business. It's taking like for the state, federal job. We build bridges and dams.
And how do you build bridges and dams in Bainbridge, Georgia, to put somewhere else?
The bridges we tear down and put them on. They go by semi-load, and for the dams we ship them out on the water.
There's a river that runs through there,
Yes.
right? And
That's correct.
It's navigable. I mean, they
Yes, it's-
can send stuff down to the port, and I guess probably all the way to Savannah, can't they,
Yes.
or to Florida?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so what is your job at Steward Machine?
I'm a painter.
Okay, how long have you worked there?
Maybe 2.5 years.
When you and your mother and your sister were living together in Colquitt, who, if anyone, was the primary wage earner?
Me and my mother before she got sick.
And now that it's you and your sister living there, Who is the primary wage earner in that household?
Me.
What's your sister do?
She's in college right now.
Who is Romeo Angeles?
It's my son.
When was he born?
June 25th, 2022.
And who is his mother?
Shayla Alondra Angeles Garnica.
Did you know that Shayla was pregnant with your child before the baby was born?
Yes.
And were you in contact with her? Were you
Yes.
sort of being kept in the loop, as it were?
Yes.
When you found out that the baby had been born, what did you? Well, let me ask you this: where was she when the baby was born?
She was in Tallahassee.
When you found out that the baby had been born, what did you do?
I was staying in Dothan at the time. I left Dothan and went to Tallahassee.
Okay. And when you went to Tallahassee, what did that involve? I mean, you go and see your baby that's just been born. I mean, how long? What did you do? Who did you see? What did you do?
I went to see her, see him, and she said she haven't named him yet, so we came up with a name.
Okay. So y'all talked about that together,
Yes.
a name?
Yes.
Okay, and what did y'all settle on as far as the name goes?
Jackson Drew Angeles.
Okay, Jackson Drew, like Jackson.
Jackson.
Jackson, like
Yes.
Jaxton.
Yes.
Okay, and Drew spelled how?
DRU.
DRU?
Yes.
Okay. And did you believe that that Jackson Drew was going to be the baby's name?
Yes.
Did you find out at some point that wasn't his legal name?
After he was deceased.
Did you ever have a copy of his birth certificate?
No. Nor Social Security card.
Who had those things?
His mother.
Did you ask for them?
Yes, several times.
Did you have any way of getting them without going through her?
No, because my mom looked it up in the system. She couldn't find Jackson Drew, so couldn't find it.
And who did the baby live with? Y'all called him JD, right?
Right.
That was the name that what he actually was called,
Yes.
right? Who did JD live with after he was born?
With his mom for like maybe 2-3 months. But in between that, I get him every week.
Okay, so he lived with his mother, but you got him every
Week or two.
every other week?
Every other week.
Every other week, okay. Was there a time when the custody arrangement changed in some way?
Yes, when she said she was going to Mexico.
Now, why would she have been going to Mexico? Do you know?
It was for she got another kid. Her kids all in Mexico, and the birthday I think is in November, and she was leaving and said she'd come back in like January. And she asked could she take them, but I said no, I'll keep them till you got back.
So is she Mexican?
Yes.
Okay, and so she was going to go to Mexico, and that was when, if you remember.
Early October. Late October, early November.
Okay, October or November of
22.
2022. Okay, so he would have been, JD would have been 4 or 5 months
3 or 4
old, 3 or
months,
4
yeah.
months old.
Yes.
And then when she told you she was going to Mexico, and you told her that you didn't want her to take your son to Mexico, what did she do?
She told me I can come get him. So I went to Tallahassee and got him.
After you went and got him in Tallahassee, did you keep him more or less from then and for the rest of his life?
Yes.
Did he see his mother again?
Maybe
Or
3
did
times.
she see him?
Maybe 3 times.
Okay, I think what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to put this on the replay if you guys want to watch it all the way through. Let you guys take a look at the final sentencing. So let's take a look at this. Let me turn my mic off.
Breaking news, we have a verdict out of the state of Georgia in the case against Trinity Pogue. You can see, Michael, 2 hours, 56 minutes. They had a question. Now we understand they have a verdict.
Yeah, we see that from time to time when juries have a question. It doesn't take too long after that for them to resolve any issues that they had. Again, Trinity Pogue charged with murder in the death of the son of her then boyfriend who had been staying at her dorm room. He had left her in the room with the baby. The baby ended up with some very serious injuries. So the supposition is that she caused those injuries, but of course the defense is claiming she did not, and perhaps they were caused by someone else or at some other time. Let's bring back in our guest still with us, criminal defense attorney Forrest Miller. Forrest, as I said, a lot of times you get these questions. This is a little quick, but a lot of times you get these questions, and then the jury sort of clarifies what's going on in there, and then they come out with a verdict.
Yeah, I'm surprised that it came so quickly after. We were waiting for maybe 20 more minutes. That's great. They got their stuff clarified. That was obviously holding them up from their verdict. They defined some things and they pulled the trigger. So I'm excited to see what the verdict is.
I was surprised it was that quick as well. And we do want to mention that is a live picture of the defendant. They're the judges. He just took the bench. We do not have any audio yet. We're waiting for the jury to get back in there. And I have to just comment on her demeanor. She's been a little bit like that. We see her now. I would be worried. I think 3 hours in, if it were me, I would be worried. Forrest, tell us what you think. And if we cut you off, it's only because they've started court.
Sure, understood. Yes, I think it's my opinion that when verdicts come quickly like this, that it's most often bad news. So her demeanor is appropriate. I think that she has some bad news coming down the pike right now.
Forrest, she didn't take the stand in her own defense. Do you think that was a mistake? I certainly do.
She can't really explain too much. They found the body in her room, and maybe to her personally, maybe she wants to hold that close and not really divulge the information that she has, and it's her prerogative. But I really don't think she could have talked her way out of this.
All right.
I think.
Foreperson, does the jury
Yep, we have audio. Let's go in.
All right, if you would pass that to my bailiff, please. All right, Ms. Pogue, if you would please stand. The verdict reads as follows as to each count. On count 1, it says, we, the jury, find the defendant not guilty. On counts 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, the verdict reads, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty of felony murder, 2 counts, aggravated battery, 2 counts, and cruelty to child in the 1st degree. Y'all can have a seat. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a tough week for you, I'm sure, and I know that you probably had a lot of places you would have rather been this week than here. I do want to thank you tremendously for your service. You have shown up, you've been on time, and you've paid thorough attention. You've taken in a lot of information this week, and you're obviously from fact that you've deliberated over this. You've looked at this very closely. So with that, your county appreciates the work you've done, and you'll receive a stipend. It's just a token of the county's appreciation. You are free to leave for the term. You're also free to, you can certainly step back into the courtroom through the other door if you wish to, or hang around if you want to speak with the lawyers, but you don't have to. You don't have to talk to anybody. You're welcome to leave at this time if you prefer. If you do, turn in your badges on your way out, and make sure that your notes are in the jury room. And I really appreciate it. Y'all are free to go.
The jury is free to go. We're waiting to see what the judge does next. Her explosive reaction to the not guilty on malice murder, meaning no intent. But
was there anything hold the jury for just a second? Ask them to step into the jury room. No, ask them to step into the jury room.
What y'all think? Y'all think she celebrated too early? And shout out to Phoenix. I see you in the building. What up? What up? What y'all think? She celebrated too early, huh? Oh, yes. And the judge was like, gotta be quicker than that. You didn't wait. But wait, there's more. Do not go past. Pulled that right back. Like, hold up.
Ask them to just step into the jury room. Yeah.
In the jury room.
Chad, if you'll pass this down, please pass this down to the lawyers.
all right, while they're just figuring that out, we can go back in when he starts to speak with the lawyers. But I just want to mention all the lesser charges has the same potential sentence, Michael, as malice murder. The judge will decide whether it's life without parole or life with the possibility of parole, even on these lessers of felony murder.
Yes, I was a little surprised at how happy the family was at the malice murder being not guilty, because basically, like you said, they carry the same penalties, so she's really not out of the woods. But I want to say the cruelty to children charge, which she was also found guilty of, that's one sentence that can be added consecutive to whatever the judge finds. I think I hear the judge again.
Mr. Gamble?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, my proposal would be to let's proceed with sentencing. I would like to give you all about 15 minutes and come back in and I'll hear from both sides, and then I'll pass sentence. So it's 4:35. I'll be back in at 10 minutes until 5, and go ahead and hear from both parties and conduct sentencing. Thank y'all.
All right, so you heard the judge there. They're actually going to do sentencing today.
Yeah.
They're going to take a quick 15-minute break. The attorneys will then make their arguments to the judge, and the judge ultimately will make that decision whether she gets life in prison with parole or life without parole. And I think death might be on the table. I'm not sure it's on there for felony murder or not, but I think certainly life with parole or life without parole will be on the table.
I think the death is on the table, too. Under the sentencing guidelines, right? That's a possibility.
Right.
I just have to mention that now that the defense just found out what she's been found guilty of, not malice murder, I'm a little surprised they don't want to think about sentencing to determine what witnesses, if any, they want to present. But that's not what's going to happen.
That's not what's going to happen.
All right. So this has been a long time coming with this case, and thank y'all for those who've been following it. Pretty much going to close this out right there. We're not going to do any updates to see whether it was life with parole or without. It really doesn't even matter. At the end of the day, it's not going to bring this man's baby back. All the stuff I've been saying for all of these years, I pray that these parents, whether it be the men or the women, like the channel, my channel has been getting views over the years, I would say. So I know that somebody's listening. I just hope it starts to hit where it needs, like people start to hear where they need to hear, and it hits where it needs to hit. Because It was senseless for this to happen. This man knew even when it happened. I was doing YouTube videos before this even happened. So whether he's heard of my channel or not, whether he made a lapse in judgment or whatever the case is, there was no reason for this woman to ever be around this kid, right? Be a father, that's great. No reason to have your girlfriend around your kids, same as the fathers, or excuse me, with the mothers. There's no reason to have your boyfriends around your kids. You're married, totally different. But that's just my humble opinion. Women shouldn't be mothers under the age of 25 years old. Men shouldn't be fathers under the age of 30 years old. We need to start following these trends, I think, and just change them for the better. So to that little prince, let me see if I get his face back up on the screen. R.I.P. Romeo, R.I.P. or Jackson, R.I.P. Thank you guys for listening to his story. Make sure you guys make this story go viral. Continue to share it. Thank you. So for those who don't know, this is actually going to be an additional time that I'm talking about the story. The big update right here, okay? So we're finally starting to get somewhere with this. We got sentencing, okay, for the really horrible thing that happened to this baby that you guys see on my screen right here. Before we get into the details and give you this big update, let me give you a disclaimer. If I use some bad language, don't be shocked. Don't be surprised. This is intended for mature audiences. So viewer discretion is advised. Mommy of 3, let's take it away. Let's get it.
Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, new website articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer.
So I'm getting this information from a government website, which is norfolk.gov. So straight from the horse's mouth. So check it out. Norfolk, Virginia. Oh my God, I can't pronounce this whore's name. Oh my God. Look, people, I'm going to just tell y'all. Look, let me show y'all on the screen. I'm going to show you this name, and y'all tell me how would y'all pronounce this. I can't pronounce this shit. Hold on. Can I make this bigger on the screen? Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Give me a second. I want y'all to look at this name. Right there. How the hell do you pronounce that? Z.L. Briaya? Z.L. Bria? Z.L. Bria? Oh my God. Is that Z.I.Bria? These names, and y'all wonder why these people continue to keep doing stupid stuff, because they don't value themselves, because you don't give them a name that means anything. What does Zaibria mean? What does that even mean? Zaibria Chantel Parker, 22 years old, was sentenced on Friday to serve 10 years in prison for felony child abuse, and her husband, the dummy on the right-hand side of the screen, his name is Hillary Darnell Johnson II. Hillary. That's what it says. That could be wrong, but it's spelled H-I-L-A-R-Y. Unless that's Hillary. Do you think it's Hillary or Hillary? I think it's Hillary. I think he's a bitch, but I digress. So 22 years old and 24 years old. What did I tell y'all about these ages of them having kids? Women shouldn't be mothers under the age of 25 years old. Men should not be fathers under the age of 30 years old until they become more mature and more financially responsible. I just think it will make the world a better place. Ibria, man, that's a stupid ass name. I'm sorry, but it is. They were sentenced last week to serve 19 years for murder after the couple entered guilty pleas earlier this year to those charges following the death of their 9-day-old baby. The baby didn't even survive 9 days. These are just horrible ass people. around 12. You cannot know. Like, I bet you if you would have left that baby in a gorilla cage, a gorilla would have at least allowed that baby to survive for 9 days. Fed it some bananas, slang some shit on it, but it would have survived. Maybe gave it one of them gorilla titties and put some gorilla milk in there. I've seen gorillas, how they treat their little babies, newborn babies. They are more gentle and better than humans are. Believe it or not. Anyway, around 12:30 p.m. on May the 4th of 2024, the couple arrived at Children's Hospital of the King's Daughter with the body of their daughter, Elijah. They told the staff that Elijah, and I'm saying Elijah because the way they spelled it, it ain't spelled traditional at all, said wolves could have taken care of the baby better. Isn't that something? And thank you for hitting us up over there on the, channel membership. Thank you. Shout out to you. Thank you for rejoining. Elijah was cold to the touch, had fallen from her stroller and hit her head 2 days prior while Mr. Johnson was jogging. The parents who were living in a tent at the time, let me say that again, good freaking God, I forgot about that. They were living in a tent at the time. And you know how the irony, because when they started letting all of those people come in to this country from Mexico and all these other countries, and it was just, America was just a free flow under Joe Biden, under the Democratic regime, and they were giving these people free rides, free plane rides, free food, free health care, free this, free that. And these people with the option to have Section 8 food stamps and even homeless housing that would at least take care of a baby and a mother. And these fools still ended up in a tent. You have the safe haven laws that when this baby was born, she could have gave the baby up for adoption safely. And they still chose to put this child in that position. But let's keep going. They were living in a tent at the time, said they had not sought medical treatment for Elijah sooner because they had tried to treat her on their own with witch hazel, peroxide, and gauze that they had got on the light rail to bring her to the hospital when they noticed that after the appetite had decreased and that she appeared to no longer be breathing. Oh my goodness. The parents struggled to provide a precise birth date for their daughter and laughed while checking in. Hospital staff observed signs of abuse on Elijah's body, including burns on the bottom of her feet, 2 cuts on the top of her head and face, and bruises on her back, and called Norfolk police. A subsequent autopsy confirmed that her death was caused by blunt force trauma to her head and torso with deep partial thickness burns consistent with burns caused by hot liquid to her feet as a contributing factor. None of her injuries could be explained by a fall from a stroller. So, of course, we know that's bullshit. Elijah had also suffered several broken ribs and multiple other internal and external injuries. Based on police investigation, both parents were charged with felony child abuse and second-degree murder. Neither the autopsy nor the investigation nor the statements of Mr. Johnson and Ms. Parker could establish which parent had inflicted Elijah's injuries, though the evidence pointed more strongly to Mr. Johnson. Both parents denied hurting Elijah, so they both denied it. On August the 4th of 2025, Mr. Johnson entered an agreement to plead guilty to second-degree murder and face an active sentence up to 19 years in prison, and the Commonwealth agreed to the dismissal of the child abuse charge. Judge Jamila D. LaCruz accepted Mr. Johnson's plea and found him guilty. On October 24th, after hearing the arguments from the Commonwealth and the defense, Judge LaCruz sentenced Mr. Johnson to the maximum 19 years allowable under the plea agreement and suspended an additional 21 years on the condition that Mr. Johnson completes 5 years of supervised probation, as well as uniform good behavior after his release, and that he has no supervised no supervised contact with minors during that time. On August 19th, Ms. Parker entered an agreement to plead guilty to child abuse, and the Commonwealth agreed to the dismissal of her murder charge due to insufficient evidence in her case to support that charge. There was no agreement to sentence Ms. Parker, no agreement to the sentence Ms. Parker will receive, and her state sentencing guidelines recommend an active sentencing range between probation to 6 months in jail due to her lack of a criminal history. So are you saying he had a criminal history? If then, what do we call that? Hashtag babies. No. When you date thugs, you date death. Hashtag babies for benefits, but not this time. When you date thugs, you date death. Thug being an action, not a skin color. Okay? So 6 months in jail due to her lack of criminal history. I don't even know what that has to do with anything. You got a dead baby. Why should that even factor when they've never done anything wrong prior to that on record? That's stupid. Judge Jennifer Fuschetti accepted Ms. Parker's agreement and found her guilty and set her sentencing hearing on October the 31st. At Ms. Parker's sentencing hearing on Friday, the Commonwealth argued for a deviation above guidelines and Ms. Parker's to serve 3 years in prison. Three years in prison. And she's currently 22. She'll be out by 25. Her ovaries will still be intact. Her stupidity and immaturity will still be there. She is a horrible individual. So what do you think she's going to do when she gets out? Yeah, and that's 3 years, and that's depending on if they only make you serve 80% of that. So more like 2.5. 3 years is ridiculous. She's going to get out, get pregnant, and put another baby in harm's way. 3 years in prison while the defense counsel argued for a sentence amounting to time served due to Ms. Parker's guideline recommendation and due to her having spent the last 16 months in custody. After hearing the arguments, Judge Fuschetti sentenced Ms. Parker to serve 10 years, the maximum sentence under Virginia law for felony child abuse, and 3 years of post-release supervision. In handing down the sentence, Judge Fuschetti noted how malnourished the baby had been, the continued lack of an explanation for her injuries, and that Ms. Parker's sentencing guidelines did not account for an aggravated case such as hers. So 10 years is better, but she'll still be 32. She'll be about 32 when she gets out. There is no victim more vulnerable than a newborn baby. Elijah came into this world in need of love and protection from her mother and father. What she got instead was suffering and death, said Commonwealth's attorney Rami whatever his name is, something. This was a difficult case on the facts, and there was real risk of it. There were real risk in going to trial, since there was no doubt about the nature of Elijah's injuries. Each parent could have blamed the other for inflicting the damage. In both cases, we secured a conviction and left the sentencing to the wisdom of the judge. We will continue to work with difficult cases and honor the memory of innocent victims like Elijah who cannot speak for themselves, and I'm going to add this part, cannot defend themselves. So I can skip some of the rest of this. Let me give you the fair uses. Let me show you a couple news videos because I got more to show y'all. Let's go.
Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107.
If y'all would do me a favor, hit that thumbs up. Y'all are doing real good. So when y'all come in, please hit that thumbs up so to make these videos share a little bit more. More people can find us, okay? Let's get it.
Tonight, new disturbing details are emerging in the case of a 9-day-old girl's death in Norfolk. The baby's mother appeared in court this morning where a judge denied her bond.
And meanwhile, the father, also charged with murder, withdrew his request for a bond hearing today. Angelique Arentalk brings us the update, but first, a warning that you may find some of the information in this report difficult to hear.
Judge Robert Smith called the infant's injuries severe and numerous. He described a lack of appropriate treatment while denying bond for the baby's mother. 21-year-old Zabrea Parker is accused of abusing and killing her 9-day-old baby girl. Parker's attorney, Trevor Robinson, requested bond Tuesday. He said his client has no prior criminal record. Robinson said Parker's mother in Maryland would take her in, keep in contact, and provide transportation. Court documents say Parker and the child's father, 23-year-old Hillary Johnson II, most recently lived in a tent outdoors. Norfolk Senior Assistant Commonwealth's Attorney Michelle Newkirk said staff at Children's Hospital of the King's Daughters reported the couple did not appear worried or upset. Norfolk police say officers responded to CHKD on May 4th to find the child unresponsive. Newkirk opposed bond, referring to Parker's checklist for bail determinations. It says the infant had severe burns on her feet, splash burns, bruises, broken ribs, and a broken clavicle. The same document says the child showed symptoms of shaken baby. According to the checklist, Parker treated the baby with witch hazel and other home remedies. Parker's attorney tells me he believes the evidence he's seen so far does not suggest his client committed the injuries. Rather, he says he plans to argue whether Parker failed to act when it comes to medical attention for the child. Parker's next court date is July 18th. Angelique Arentalk, 13 News Now.
Like Parker, the baby's father also faces felony child abuse and second-degree murder charges. According to court documents, Hillary Johnson II claimed it couldn't be proved he did it because he brought the baby to the hospital. It's unclear when Johnson will appear in court. New crime alert in Norfolk. 2 people have been arrested for the death of a
case that has pulled on the heartstrings. You just heard from is the grandfather of T.G.I.F Johnson, the 9-day-old that died earlier this month.
I wanted to do right by her. She was taken away, grabbing on my leg, all of that. All that stuff was taken away from me. That's not fair.
Hillary Johnson Sr. was over the moon when he welcomed his first grandchild into the world. He shared these pictures with me of T.G.I.F, not knowing these would be the last he'll ever have.
I wanted to give her a shot, give her a chance at, something beautiful, a beautiful life that a little girl deserves.
The infant's parents, Zabrea Parker and Hillary Johnson II, have been charged with second-degree murder in their baby's death. On May 4th, police went to CHKD after they got a call for an unresponsive baby showing signs of abuse. Pictures detailing the baby's injuries were shown in court for the judge to see. Our cameras could not roll on those photos, but it detailed severe burns on the infant's feet, along with splash burns on other areas of her body, including a large handprint on the baby's back, according to the judge. Court documents also say that the autopsy revealed that the child had several bruises on her head, broken ribs, and showed symptoms of shaken baby.
That's why I alarmed hospital staff, tried to talk to everybody. I assured my granddaughter that she was going to be safe.
He worried that his son and daughter-in-law were not fit to be parents. So much so, he says he even warned staff at Centera Norfolk General that he feared for the baby's life. But he says his plea fell on deaf ears.
I said, I fear for the girl's life. What else am I supposed to do? Now I got to bury my granddaughter because nobody listened.
Johnson Sr. concerns also stem from the baby's parents being homeless and struggling with mental health. Those details police also confirmed, telling me the parents were living in a tent near I-264 in Compostela. It is unclear how long they have been homeless.
How did that happen, man?
I reached out to Centera after Johnson Sr. told me his plea for help was ignored. The spokesperson for Centera sent me a statement saying, quote, Centera has policies and procedures to ensure that suspicions of child abuse or neglect and other reportable concerns are investigated in accordance with the law. Parker is due back in court on July 18th, and at this time, it is unclear when Johnson will be back in court. For now, in Norfolk, I'm Kelsey Jones, News 13. 2023.
Well, new at noon, 2 parents charged in connection to the death of their infant child faced a Norfolk judge this morning.
Zabrea Parker and Hillary Johnson II are accused of killing their 9-day-old baby, and Casey Baylor was in court and shares new details.
Both Zabrea Parker and Hillary Johnson II appeared in court for a rather quick hearing this morning, both of their attorneys requesting competency and sanity evaluations. Parker and Johnson are accused of killing and abusing their 9-day-old baby. Norfolk police say the parents brought their unresponsive child to CHKD back in May. Court records say the baby was cold to touch when she arrived to the hospital. Officials say the baby showed signs of abuse with cuts, burns, and bruises on her body. Records say Parker allegedly didn't think the injuries appeared to be serious, and she tried treating the child with home remedies like witch hazel. Paperwork adds Johnson appeared, quote, cavalier about the offense. Thursday morning, attorneys for both parents requested a competency evaluation as well as a test to understand their sanity at the time of the offense. A Norfolk judge told the mother and father doctors would see them at the jail and ask them questions to see if they're able to understand the court process. Outside the courtroom, Parker's attorney says due to the nature of the case, there's a level of concern for competency, which is why he requested the evaluations. Lawyers for both Parker and Johnson requested separate doctors for those evaluations. They're due back in court in October. In Norfolk, I'm Casey Baylor for 13 News Now.
And Parker's attorney previously told 13 News Now he believes the evidence that he's seen does not suggest his client committed the injuries.
You can say that all day long, but look, these are two idiots of the same feather, and they flock together, and they shouldn't have been parents. So I agree with you in the chat. They should have done assessments before the baby was released to them. Simple things like, what do you do for a living? Where do you live? How are you going to feed and clothe and protect this baby? Simple things. But they just let people just, yep, you had the kid and you can just run off and just do whatever. We got a dead kid. That should have never have happened. But I can't pronounce that child's name right. Y'all heard they pronounced it one way on the news. I pronounced it another way. I said Elijah. I'm not really sure how to pronounce the baby's name, honestly. But I will say to this baby, R.I.P. So we're thankful to get some level of justice. I like 10 years better than 3 years because I was about to freak out about that. But they definitely need as much time in prison as possible. But we're not going to do any more updates. That's going to be the final update on this story. But thank you guys so much for rocking with us and allowing us to be able to share in this story of that baby and get justice against these two damn idiots, okay? Thank you.